Brad?
Brad, when you committed to Iowa, one of the things that you mentioned right out of the gate was, you're a Hawkeye fan from the time, even before you started wrestling, you followed Iowa athletics and stuff. To kind of see where it's led to right now, to where, right now you're the guy at heavyweight for, starting for this program. What's that like looking back on when you're a little kid to now?
I mean, it's awesome. It's everything I could have hoped for. Getting to wrestle for Tom, Terry, and Carver, I mean, it's amazing. I used to come up here for every Friday night to watch meets, and, I mean, I looked up to those guys. Those guys are my idols, so being able to be one of those guys to wrestle in Carver is just, it's amazing.
Were you really here attending when you were like 3, 4, 5 years old?
Mm-hmm. All the way up until high school, really.
Do you have a first memory from being in the crowd and watching Iowa wrestle?
Not really, first memory, but my favorite memory was Tony Ramos sticking Jordan Conaway in the Penn State duel, and it was electric.
You're seeing it now from a different point of view. What's that like?
I mean, just being down there, it's completely different. Just everything that goes on through your head during an Iowa wrestling meet, it's completely different from a wrestling perspective. Just settling down, relaxing, and going out there and wrestling is just crazy.
When did you kind of find out you were going to be the starter, at least to begin this year?
Officially, week of. I mean, with the whole gambling thing, you never really knew what was going to happen. So you just had to be, every guy has to be ready, next man up. So, I was always ready the whole time, just ready to wrestle.
When you were in high school, you wrestled down at 190, you were up at heavyweight. I guess, what was it here at Iowa that made you stick to heavyweight a little bit for you?
I don't really like cutting weight very much. I don't think anyone does. So I came here, I was mid 215-ish. I went and talked to Tom, and we decided the best thing for me was to get stronger and just focus on getting better at wrestling.
In that room, you have guys from Solon, Iowa City, just a number of guys from Iowa. What does that say about the heavyweights that are coming out of the state right now when you have a group of guys like you have in that room?
Iowa wrestling is one of the premier states in the country, and I'm very grateful for my partners. They push me every day to be better in every aspect of wrestling, and it's great.
And I got to imagine, you probably wrestled against a lot of those guys growing up. You knew them for a long time. So how fun is it when you have a lot of guys that are in that same kind of age range, that same area, just being able to grow with them in your career?
Oh, it's awesome. I've been on so many Team Iowa teams and so many different clubs with a bunch of my teammates and other Division I wrestlers. So it's really cool to see everyone I've grown up with at the same level that I am. It's awesome.
When you became the next man up, did the mindset change? Did your approach change? Or was it just keep doing what you're doing?
Keep getting better at wrestling. You got to be ready all the time.
Tom and some others have described you as kind of a blue-collar, lunch pail type of worker. And work ethic is a cornerstone for your success. Where does that stem from, or where did you kind of develop that hard-nosed work ethic?
I was very grateful to have parents that instilled that within me. Growing up, I wasn't the most talented, biggest, strongest, fastest. They just told me hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So just work hard and things will happen.
You were accomplished at football and everything as well. When did wrestling really become what you wanted to chase or become your number one focus?
I'd say after my sophomore year of high school. I've always loved wrestling, and I really like going to the state tournament, but placing was kind of that turning point for me, and then I started going to Seabolt with TJ Seabolt and wrestling guys like Ben Keeter every day, and so that really just helped me focus on wrestling, just get better, and realize that's what I wanted to do.
Given that work ethic in wrestling, which is known for needing that, is there any other sport that work ethic really ties into more than wrestling? Or do you
I
need
f-
that more for-
I feel like wrestling is the hardest sport out there, and you need to give 100%, 110% in wrestling, otherwise you're not going to do anything. Whereas other sports are very hard in their own right, but I feel like wrestling kind of is an outlier.
You know, you talked about being a young kid in the crowd, watching Tony Ramos and other Hawkeyes wrestle here. Has it kind of sunk in that there might be another Bradley Hill sitting in Carver on Friday, looking at you, watching you, and that might have an impact on, you know, a young wrestler down the road?
Sort of. I mean, I got to do something first. I got to start winning. Then maybe.
Got the holiday coming up. What's your plan for that break off for a couple weeks?
Get better at wrestling. Get stronger.
Anything else? Thank you, guys.
Sweet.
Brad?
Thank you. Do you prefer Bradley or Brad?
I usually go Bradley, but
Okay.